Duck cassoulet. It's an incredible dish of slow-cooked beans with vegetables, herbs, and pork that's then oven-baked with sausage and duck confit. This is classic French cuisine at its finest, and it's easily in my top 3 of all-time favorite things to eat, and I have no idea why it's taken me this long to make this video. My bad. Let's start off by knocking out some prep. Sound good? Let's cook. All right, Commies, I have 1 pound of dried Great Northern beans. Now, the classic bean used in France is known as a flageolet. If you can get those, great. If not, Great Northern beans are a fantastic bean to use here. Now, we have them in a plastic container, and what we want to do is cover them completely with cold water by about 6 inches over the beans and let them sit overnight. If you're more pressed for time, what you can do is add boiling water to the beans and let it sit for 1 hour. Either technique will work, and it is used to help speed up the overall cooking process. So to fast forward to the day of cooking, I'm going to start with 1 pound of pork belly. The other options are thick cut bacon, pancetta, bone-in or boneless pork chops. What we're going to do is cut these into 1-inch cubes, just like this. Briefly set them to the side. Now let's head over to the cooktop. Cassoulet comes from the word cassoulet, which is an earthenware bowl that would have been used to cook in. Now I don't have one of these bowls, so this large 8-quart enamel Dutch oven pot will have to do. Next, we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of fat. You could use olive oil, avocado oil, or for me, I've got a little bit of duck confit oil left over, so I'm going to use that. Then we're going to turn the heat up to low medium. Then we're going to add in our pork belly cubes. Once they're in there, give them a quick season of coarse salt, maybe just a ½ teaspoon or so to help in the browning process. Now we are going to frequently stir these for a total of 12 to 15 minutes. Again, we just want that little bit of Maillard on there to help with the flavor and to render out some of the fat. These look fantastic, so we are just going to simply set these to the side in a bowl. Now in that same pot with the rendered fat, we are going to add in 4 sausages that weigh 4 ounces each. Now the classic sausage would be something known as Toulouse, which is a French garlic sausage. Other great options are bratwurst, regular pork sausage, or even an Italian sausage, preferably without fennel. As soon as they're in there, let's crank the heat a bit up to medium, and all we want is a little blister sear on here, and that little browning is just going to further enhance the overall flavor of this dish, maybe 3 to 4 minutes per side. That's it. In the meantime, we can start on a little bit of prep, but first going to wash my cutting board with some hot water and soap because, well, raw pork was on it. I've got 1 large yellow onion. Other great options would be white, sweet, or even red. We want to peel it and then medium dice it. Let's set that to the side, go back and check out our sausage. You can see they've got a nice little brown on there, fantastic. We are going to set them to the side in a separate bowl. Now let's add in the onions, and they're going to cook in all that delicious rendered fat from the pork belly, the duck, the sausage. We are going to cook these while occasionally stirring over low, medium heat. It's going to take in between 30 to 35 minutes. We want a nice caramelization on here. Again, it just adds to the overall flavor. I can't say it enough. While these are cooking, we can knock out some prep. I have 1 large carrot or 2 medium-sized carrots will work. You can peel them or give them a really good scrub. We are going to medium dice these just like with the onions. Next, I have 2 ribs of celery, again, medium dice. Then this dish is going to go heavy on garlic, so I have 10 whole cloves, which we are going to smash and then finely mince. If you're using a bratwurst Italian sausage or regular pork sausage, you can even add a few more cloves here. There is a good amount of garlic in this duck cassoulet. Last but not least, I have about 7 to 8 cherry tomatoes, which we're just going to quarter. Now, the other options would be to replace it with 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. Although there are some recipes that forbid the addition of tomatoes, you can be the judge here. And like I always say, any leftover vegetable scraps go in the freezer until I'm ready to make vegetable beef or chicken stock. And throughout the prep process, I usually go back to the onions every 5 to 7 minutes just to give it a quick stir and see where we're at. We are looking really nice and golden brown here, lots of flavor in these onions. We're next going to add in the carrots and celery. We're going to turn the heat up to medium and saute them for about 2 to 3 minutes just to start the cooking process. And I like the medium-sized cut here because this cooks maybe for a total of 3 to 4 hours. And when the cuts are smaller, the flavor infuses quicker into the overall dish. And plus, if they break down a little bit, it's no problem. And like I always like to encourage you, try some of these vegetables. It's good to know what things taste like at every single stage. Lets you know, do you need to add anything to this? Are we good? How much longer can these cook for? It's to understand and put into practice these techniques over and over again. All right, let's add in all that garlic. We're going to continue to cook it over medium heat, and they always say it's done when it becomes fragrant, which only takes 30 to 45 seconds. Now we're going to add in our quarter cherry tomatoes, and this does equal about a third cup in case you're wondering on volume. We're going to stir those in there and then give it a quick seasoning of a half teaspoon of coarse salt. And what the seasoning does throughout the entire cooking process will allow the final dish to be incredible and perfectly seasoned. Everything is looking really good. We are going to deglaze right now with 1 cup of dry Chardonnay wine. Another great option is Pinot Grigio. We are going to crank the heat up to medium high as soon as it's in there and cook it until it's almost gone, or maybe just 2 to 3 tablespoons remain. Once we're at this stage, let's go drain our beans that soaked overnight, give them a quick shake, then we're going to add them right to the pot along with our browned up pork belly. Next, 6 cups of good chicken stock. Other options are vegetable stock, brodo, or water will work fine. The beans should be covered by about 1 inch. And next for our bouquet garni, which I'm not going to put in cheesecloth because it's no big deal to me if these things are in there. 4 to 5 full stems of parsley with the leaves. Next, we're adding in 8 to 10 sprigs of fresh thyme, then 1 bay leaf. Let's also give this a season with coarse salt and fresh cracked black pepper. Mix everything until combined, and again, give it a little taste. Make sure it's seasoned. Let's crank the heat up to high and bring the beans to a boil, which only takes in between 10 and 15 minutes. This will start to infuse the flavors a little bit quicker and make the bean cooking process move along faster. Once they are boiling, we are going to add on a lid and turn the heat down to low, and we're going to cook them for exactly 60 minutes or just until tender. Now, usually everything gets thrown in and cooked, but I believe if we take the time to caramelize all these things, the flavor is going to be superior than just boiling everything together uncooked. So after that amount of time, let's come back, remove the lid. You can see the stock has reduced quite a bit. The beans are really right at the top there. We're going to give it a stir, and at this stage, you can take out the bay leaves, thyme, and parsley, but for me, I don't really care. It's just more flavor. I've got a little bit more cooking to do, so I'm going to leave them in there. Let's go ahead at this stage and add in our seared sausage. That's why it doesn't matter if they're not cooked through all the way, because I promise they will. And last but not least, probably the most important ingredient is duck confit. Now, I've got a great recipe video that I just made that you can check out, and there's really no substitute for this. This is more or less the hero of the dish. Once you've got your duck confit ready, we are going to add it right to the pot, and what I like to do is push it down a little bit under the beans. I don't want anything hanging out too much because as the stock reduces down, it will start to expose the skin and it will brown up, which is what we want, but I don't want to start off that way. And this is totally optional, but I'm just going to drizzle on like 2 tablespoons of leftover duck confit fat that I have. Hey, fat equals flavor, my friends. And this was meant to be a simple dish. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. This was originally farm fare, okay? Loaded with beans and protein, hearty, stick-to-the-bone type of meal. But I try to get everything in that same pot using those simple techniques of wanting that Maillard, that brown goodness on as many things as I can just to bring about more flavor. And even just try things throughout the process. Try the broth once it's in there. Right before you add in the duck confit, try a little bit of that pork. See where the flavors are. What else do you maybe need to add? For now, though, we're good. We're heading into the oven. So we're taking our pot uncovered, adding it to a lower third rack in the oven at 375 degrees, and we're going to cook it for between 90 and 120 minutes. So I'm going to come back every 30 minutes or so and just have a look. You'll notice this fond will start to form on the top. Now, it would be traditional to gently fold all that goodness back into the pot. It's just more flavor going in there. You don't have to do it. It is optional. I'm not going to do it because I want more fond to collect for the final dish. Just giving you that option if you want to do it. And if you do, please be careful. Going back in the oven until we are all finished up, and then pull it out. And first, you won't even believe how amazing your house is going to smell. Look at that beautiful caramelization on top. This is what it's all about. I'm beyond excited to get into one of my all-time favorite dishes. And if there is one thing I've learned about duck cassoulet over the years, is that it's sort of like gumbo. Everyone has their own version, but only theirs is the correct one. There are many ways to make this, depending on where you're having it or who is making it. But it will still go back to these fundamental classic cooking techniques, no matter the ingredients. That always makes amazing food and the best memories. I mean, this is a dish you call your friends and family over for. It's so comforting. You get them around the table, you have those great conversations. And we do this because we love to see people smile. And I promise you, after the first bite, there's going to be a lot of grins around that table. All right, let me show you how I plate this up. You can serve it in the pot, or what I'm going to do is use a slotted spoon and add the beans and vegetables first down to the bottom, along with some chunks of that pork belly, which shreds apart with ease. Then I'm going to pour on maybe just a half cup of the cooking liquid. Then I'm going to add one whole sausage link. You could slice it up if you want. I'm going to leave it whole. To me, it looks better. Then I'm going to add one duck leg confit. Oh, so good. And if you want, an optional garnish of fresh thyme leaves. Yeah, my family's going to love this. Now, my philosophy when it comes to cooking is that simplicity oftentimes means elegance. And a dish like this just screams deliciousness and comfort. Now, I'm not a 30-minute type of meal guy. I'm just not. But if you give me a few hours, we can blow some minds. And this dish, oh, it is so good. I really think you and your family are going to dig it. And if you like these types of meals, you should see how I cook my prime rib. I take it to a whole nother level. You'll love it. I've got a great recipe video. I'll see you on there.